Argentina's government decided to remove teleSUR channel from the programming grid of open digital television. The United Nations denounces Israel's denial of access to the Rafah crossing point in Gaza. And in Russia, President Vladimir Putin was sworn in to officially take office as head of state for the next 6 years. Hello, welcome from the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Argentina's government has decided to remove teleSUR channel from the programming grid of open digital television. The measure, announced in a letter sent by the controller of public television, Diego Chaher, invokes the power provided for in Article 2.2 of the cooperation agreement signed on November 20th, 2020. The media censorship directed against teleSUR in Argentina represents a serious attack on the right to information, which limits access to dissident voices, restricts the plurality of information, undermines the possibility of forming informed opinions and participating in public debate, in a scenario where diversity of opinion is fundamental to the functioning of the democratic society. teleSUR's President Patricia Villegas denounced the censorship against this television channel applied by the government of the President of Argentina, Javier Milei, after he announced the elimination of its signal from the open digital television grid. Patricia Villegas, President of teleSUR, denounced the media censorship directed against teleSUR in Argentina represents a serious attack on the right to information by limiting access to dissident voices, restricting the plurality of information, undermining the possibility of holding informed opinions, and actively participating in the public debate. In a scenario where diversity of opinions and the free circulation of ideas are fundamental for the functioning of a democratic society, Villegas also warned that the human cost of the chainsaw that has cut pensions and retirement pensions, reduced public salaries, increased the poverty of millions of Argentine men and women, and threatens to extinguish Argentina's highly recognized public education. Now there is a worrisome blow against freedom of expression and plurality of voices, which paves a worrying step backwards in the path towards a society that builds its own criteria and sovereign thought. Those who wield speeches of freedom with their actions, which is what counts, cut that freedom to a project that builds sovereignty. The president of teleSUR assured that we understand that a signal that smells and tastes like homeland is mortifying for them. The Macri government had already denounced the agreement with the same backdrop and actions. Just as on that occasion, teleSUR never went away, neither will they do it now. Patricia Villegas affirmed that those who carry out these actions only portray themselves and the new world that resists and advances in dignity today in Palestine, Nicaragua, Bolivia, Cuba, and Venezuela observe them in their low-build work and with consequences not yet calculated. Villegas also expressed while they dedicate themselves to wreak havoc, we will continue to build this signal that unites us because it allows us to recognize each other from Tierra del Fuego to Mexico, and we will be more and more the signal of the Global South. At the end, Patricia Villegas reaffirmed that our multi-platform will continue to build a symphony of voices through its various channels and platforms, connecting people in the defense of the right to information as a pillar of freer and fairer societies. During the transmission of his program with Maduro Más, the Venezuelan president Nicolás Maduro assures that the Argentine president Javier Milei will not be able to censor teleSUR.
Milei is afraid. Milei is afraid. He is afraid of teleSUR. Milei is afraid. teleSUR is going to pull your legs out. Also, Milei, the people are going to see teleSUR through all the social networks. You won't be able to censor teleSUR. teleSUR is going to be more powerful than you, Milei. Rest assured, you are afraid, Milei, afraid of the truth of the people.
Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro emphasized that the plan of the seventh transformation, 7Ts, constitutes the line of work that will drive the people's will until 2030. The Venezuelan president held a meeting on Monday with governors and other representatives of the 1 for 10 Good Governance Plan. During his speech, President Maduro asserted that the 7Ts represent a political and economic project that will go beyond 2030. The president also highlighted that Venezuelans are the ones who give constant lessons to the national executive on how to work for the growth of the nation.
We are gathering strength, not only for a victory this 2024, We are building the moral strength, the ideas, for what is here. The project of the Great Transformations, 7T, the plan of the homeland, of the 7 Great Transformations, 7T, that Venezuela needs and that we are going to do and that only we can do.
In Haiti, the Parents Association has called on the Presidential Transitional Council to reopen 900 schools that have been closed amid the ongoing crisis of violence in the Caribbean country. In a statement, the organization stressed the need to reopen the institutions in order to restore the academic course of students affected by the wave of violence in the country, led by a coalition of gangs. The Haitian Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training recently condemned the looting and burning of schools and universities by armed groups. It also called for unity to protect educational institutions, reiterating that children's right to education must be guaranteed. Let's now take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Well, the story is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Brazilian President Lula Silva sent to Congress a draft legislative decree establishing a public calamity in the state of Rio Grande do Sul. The death toll after heavy rains in the state rose to 85. Authorities also reported several people missing and considered damage to infrastructures. The executive wants Parliament to authorize the transfer of resources to the regions hit by the strong storms without subjecting it to compliance with the fiscal rules. The measures include an extraordinary credit and the suspension of the monthly payment of its debt obligations, among other incentives. In the Dominican Republic, reports show a 58% reduction in forest fires in the first 4 months of this year. The National Fire Management Program with the Dominican Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources reported that the decrease in fires is due to the rains and the increase in work to control the flames. Authorities say that rainfall was more frequent than in the year 2023. In addition, more than 150 workers and citizens have planted 15,000 plants in the affected areas to help restore flora and fauna. Meanwhile, in Afghanistan, at least 14 people were reported dead due to flooding in the country during the last 3 days. According to the Ministry of State for Disaster Management Affairs, several missing persons were also reported. However, the exact number is still unknown. As a result of the rainfall, 14 provinces were affected. 140 houses were totally or partially destroyed, and more than 2,000 head of cattle were lost. The country has suffered heavy snowfalls, rains, and flash floods in recent months, which have caused the death of more than 130 people and the destruction of thousands of houses. The United Nations denounced Israel's denial of access to the Rafah crossing point in Gaza. The multilateral body joins Turkey, Egypt, Jordan, Qatar, Palestine, Belgium, and other governments and organizations denouncing Zionist operations at Kerem Shalom crossing. Israel has completely blocked the entry of humanitarian aid, as denounced earlier by several organizations that claim that Tel Aviv's real intention is to continue starving thousands of Palestinians. With timid protests from its allies in Washington and Paris, the Zionist government seized the border crossing in the midst of an unfinished negotiation process. In Palestine, thousands of people flee East Rafah in the southern Gaza Strip after the Israeli government ordered the evacuation following its intentions to invade the city. The Palestinian resistance movement, Hamas, claimed in a statement that the Tel Aviv regime is preparing a large-scale ground offensive without considering the humanitarian catastrophe. The Palestinian refugees forcibly left their camps to head towards central and western Rafah with intentions to go to western Khan Yunis and northern Deir al-Balah. Hamas warned that preparation for Israel's ground offensive in Rafah neglect the fate of hostages held captive in the territory and threatened hundreds of thousands of civilians. The Israeli government says it will continue its invasion of the Gaza Strip despite pressure from international bodies and the international community. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed not to bow to international pressure to end the siege of the Gaza Strip. Netanyahu reiterated that no decision from any international forum would stop the incursion into Rafah and that he would continue the fight despite the lack of support from his allies, with more than 34,000 Palestinians killed. The international community and Israel's main ally have called for a slowdown or even a halt to the offensive, but Netanyahu insists the fighting will continue.
The regime must accept the ceasefire agreement. Otherwise, the families of the prisoners will burn Israel.
In the United Kingdom, students at the University of Oxford and Cambridge joined demonstrations in support of the Palestinian cause. Students from both British universities joined the pro-Palestinian protest, setting up tents on the campuses of the institutions in front of the Pitt Rivers Museum. This after the London government approved a new aid package to Israel and started the Israeli operation in the Gaza Strip. In turn, the organizers sent to the university authorities a list of 6 demands, among them the boycott of the Israeli genocide, the end of the cooperation with the important Barclays Bank, and the aid to the reconstruction of Gaza, among others. We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience, you can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Russian President Putin was sworn in to officially take office as head of state for the next 6 years. During his speech at the inauguration ceremony, President Putin did not hint who his candidate to prime minister might be. According to the Russian legislation, the head of state has until May 20th to propose to the State Duma a name to occupy this position. Putin focused his speech on issues related to his country's ability to succeed in any challenge. He highlighted his nation's ability to overcome current obstacles and his willingness to contribute to the construction of a new world scenario. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov announced that Russia is open to Western Ukrainian negotiations based on reality and will not participate in any event promoting Volodymyr Zelensky's so-called peace formula. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Moscow is open to negotiations based on reality and not to those planned by the Conference of Western Countries to be held in Switzerland. Lavrov said that the leaders of Ukraine, the United States and Europe are not ready for a decent discussion and are playing a parody of negotiations in the form of a meeting. Lavrov further claimed that the Swiss Confederation is no longer a neutral state because it is in the vanguard of those who support and arm the regime in Kiev. China's Foreign Ministry spokesman Lin Yan said on Monday that China urged the Philippines to respect new model for handling disputes over the Renai Reef. In this way, the spokesman insisted that the Philippines must respect previous commitment to maintain peace in the waters of this reef. In recent statements by Philippine National Security Advisor Eduardo Año, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro and the Department of Foreign Affairs have denied any agreement with China, despite the fact that early on 2024, the Chinese side and the Philippine side agreed on a new model for resupply missions concerning the Renai Reef after multiple rounds of discussions. Inter-community clashes in the Abyei region between Sudan and South Sudan left at least 18 people killed and 8 others injured. Two neighboring communities accuse each other of aggressions. The Ruma Mayor Commissioner, armed youth, most of them from Tweed County, carried out an attack over the weekend that killed 9 people Previously, the regional authorities reported that youth from Abyei were responsible for various damages and robberies, although South Sudan was experiencing a period of relative calm. Inter-community conflicts are increasing. In Togo, President Faure Gnassingbe promoted a constitutional reform that changes the presidential system to a parliamentary one. The opposition accuses him of manipulating the laws in his favor. The head of state enacted this reform 1 week after his party's electoral victory, which could win 108 of the 113 seats in dispute. This controversial reform, approved on March 19th, has been harshly criticized because it eliminates the possibility for the Togolese people to vote directly for their president, who will now be elected by the National Assembly, meaning that the president could remain in power indefinitely. Chadians are voting to put an end to 3 years of military rule in a presidential election that boils down to an unprecedented duel between the head of the junta and the Chadian Prime Minister.
This is unprecedented. We really want change. Chadians want change, and we've come out en masse to make our voices heard, so that this change really is a truth and a reality. That's what we want, what all Chadians want. This has never happened before. Yes, before, there wasn't this enthusiasm in front of the polling stations. Today, everyone has come out and we are very proud, very happy. We really want this change.
This is my first time voting in peace and quiet. This time, I can see that this election is free and transparent. I'm really at ease. I see all the Chadians are happy to come and do their duty.
Cutting-edge technologies are being implemented for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games for it to be more inclusive. Let's see all the details in the following work.
Vibrating waistcoats and audio description will be present at the Olympics, enabling hearing and visually impaired supporters to live up this unique experience.
Personally, and I think collectively, it does us good to be able to be at the heart of the event with the atmosphere like everyone else rather than being at home. And with everything that the Olympic and Paralympic Games are preparing for. This kind of approach is very appealing to us because we really feel part of the same French sporting family.
Those state-of-the-art devices debunk the myth the deaf cannot attend a sports stadium, as they can feel everything on the games by means of their waistcoats, which picked up sound waves and turned them into vibrations immediately sent to their backs.
I can follow all these vibrations, all this movement, and in fact I feel there's a link. I can't hear, but I can feel the vibrations. For me, it's perfect. For me, I can understand it. It's a superb adaptation. These waistcoats should be everywhere. If only for concerts or a film in the cinema, that would be idyllic, that would be great. After that, I don't know, a football match, a basketball match. I need to feel those vibrations. I need someone to translate that sound for me. For me, it's comfortable. So I see that there are different things, I feel them, and in fact, if I didn't have this waistcoat, it would be complicated.
The waistcoats stem from Sound Exploration Technology SoundX company, which aims at designing, developing and deploying worldwide solutions for more inclusiveness. Its CEO, Daniela Garcia, describes thoroughly such tech.
We've developed this system that you wear like a rucksack. So I strap it on, and when it comes into contact with my back, I feel vibrations, thanks to a mobile application that is linked to this backpack, which can rotate on the bottom and which detects what is happening around me and sends me this sound signal that translates into vibrations for me.
Over 60 blind people willing to be part of the audience at the Olympic Games will count on microphones connected to audio boxes to listen to interpreters narrating everything to be happening there.
During the Games, we will also be offering 70 visually impaired people the chance to attend sessions using an audio description system, and then we're going to continue this type of operation anyway. We're also thinking about trying to get the other partners of the Games involved so that we can roll out this type of scheme, which requires funding, to a slightly greater extent.
The Paris Organizing Committee includes people with special needs by providing these advanced devices at the Olympic Games, which will be held from July 26 to August 11, 2024.
We are from the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.